hope wherever you are, you're dry. A lot of people I know are not. Folks are scrambling to get out of this water, wherever you may be. So let's hope you dodge the worst that Debby has to offer. We'll be broadcasting tonight, full on. Got a good show for you tonight. The QB himself, Shane Matthews, standing by in the orange and blue room. Then we've got Urban Meyer. A conversation with Urban for about a third of the show. He talks about, among other things, why he thinks it could be done again in Florida. Also talking about the Michigan situation where they got called for cheating. What is cheating? What does it mean? How do you cheat? He'll explain some of that. Then France Beard's on the road coming back from North Carolina. He'll be popping in. And then the long-lost intern, now reporter and writer, the MVP himself, Kyle, will be here. Kyle Curtis. We finally found him. He was lost. Might have been floating out here in the Bay, but we found him. He'll be back tonight. His series going. So it's going to be a good show tonight. No practice today outside, as you know. We'll bring you up to date on that. Maybe talk a little Olympics. I think Shane's watching more of them now. And we'll talk about the lean. Noah, how he leaned and won the gold. And also how the announcer screwed up the call. All that, plus Gator football, talk. Come join us. Comment. We like to hear your comments. And we love having you listen to the program. Stand by. It's Meldon Law Monday, the Buddy Martin Show.
Or Buddy Martin, call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome to the Buddy Martin Show. I'm Buddy Martin. I'm here with you at least 4 nights a week and sometimes more. Glad you're joining tonight in a large number. Glad to have you. It's going to be a good show tonight. Hope you're dry. Like I said, that Debbie hasn't gotten you like it did Brendan Martin. He's home scrambling with 2 holes in his roof and the water pouring in. He's had quite a day. So all the best to you, Brendan, out there. I know it's been a tough day for you. Many of you as well. So hopefully the storm does move northward through Gainesville and on up into Georgia, and not good times for them. Tons of water. So we're not a meteorologist here. We just talk sports. But we're glad to have you aboard tonight. Hope you're safe and dry. We have lots to talk about. A little bit about the Olympics. Boy, did you ever see a race as close as what we saw with Laos? Man, incredible with him leaning forward to win the gold. And it was quite a day in the Olympics. I've enjoyed watching it when we can. We'll talk about the top 25 coaches polls out. Nobody working out today in Gainesville. And a few other items that we're going to talk about tonight, including Jim Harbaugh. Says he didn't do it, folks. He didn't do it. And but somebody in Michigan's in trouble, and it looks like it might be his former assistant, the head coach, Sharon himself. Well, let's go to the orange and blue room and see if he's refreshed. I heard part of his show this morning. Always good. If you haven't been watching, you should be. Shane Matthews is the man, and he joins the program tonight. Hey, Shane.
What's happening, buddy?
I gather by listening to your show, you have watched a little bit of the Olympics.
Well, I watched all the golf. I watched some track and field. And I watched a little bit of swimming, but that's about it.
Yeah, I heard you mention Ledecky, what a treasure she is. And she's not even a Gator. She's not, quote unquote, honorary Gator, she calls herself.
Yeah.
What a performance she put on to win all those gold medals. I said she was a national treasure, and she has the gold to prove it. Can you imagine how many gold medals she has? And then, of course, well, did you see the 100-meter?
I did. I thought the Jamaican won, quite honestly. So did the announcer.
Yeah, he messed it up.
I've watched it 100 times. I can't tell who wins.
That much they said.
Yeah.
One 1,000th of a second, right? I don't know. One thing you don't do in broadcasting, I know there have been many, many people who've gotten in trouble for doing it. Some have lost their jobs, making a call when you're not sure. And Diffie, the guy's name is Diffie, he said pretty much that the Jamaican won. That's a no-no in broadcasting, Shane. That's a no-no.
No, I know, but I kind of agreed with him because when I saw it, I was like, the Jamaican won. My eyes.
Shane, you're not calling the broadcast, though.
No, I know that, but I see how he could have.
I can't too, but you don't say that. Remember, they teach you in broadcasting, don't speculate on penalties.
I've never been to broadcasting school, so.
No. I don't like that. Actually, I wish they would speculate on penalties, but they say, don't call it if you don't know it to be a fact. And so, anyway, that's what happened. Bobby Fink saved the day, setting a world record in the 1,500-meter freestyle to win the only men's individual gold in the Olympics. Bobby Fink.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the only goal. Terrific job there. So, all right. So, but it's football season, Shane. We waited all year, all summer, but you're here now, and we can talk about football. And I talked to the head ball coach last week for a while. It was good chatting with him. And I have Urban here later tonight, coming up in about after you're on, and he talks about. We talk about the fact you realize how many teams there are in the Big Ten? 18. You got to just get your arms around what's changed. And we talked about cheating. As you understand cheating, and Harbaugh got in trouble, although he says he didn't do it, and Sharon did, apparently. He didn't say that, but that's what he's taking a fall for. And I thought, well, how do you when you say cheating, what's the and doesn't everybody do it, right? Shane, didn't you steal signals? And people stole your signals, right?
Yep.
So why is it different from Michigan?
Well, I think it's the way they went about it, supposedly. I have not followed it, and I don't really care about it. But apparently you can't I guess you can't go scout teams anymore.
Right.
Because I remember being a kid, we used to go scout. When I was a kid, my dad, we'd go scout high school games.
Yeah.
And of course, even during the course of a real game, you're trying to steal signals all the time.
Yeah, well, that's supposed to be against the rules, and especially if you have like a spy team and you send them out to spy places. I remember the late Jim Nyplack, who coached the games in high school. He was a character. He once dressed up as a reporter. He and another guy went to a game, but I guess that's the situation. Well, we haven't talked really since the injury, and Florida lost its number one ball carrier, and obviously, but now he's going to be back. I don't know how much you talked about on your show today, probably a good bit, and I think I've talked to a few medical people. And there are people who make miraculous comebacks, Shane, for those kind of injuries, those surgeries. It wasn't a major surgery, but the 4 weeks to put him right at the Miami game.
Yeah, he can come back. I don't think there's any way he misses the game.
Yeah.
I was scoped after the Florida State game in 1991.
Yeah.
And did no rehab, did nothing, and played in the Sugar Bowl. Montreal, I will be shocked if he does not play.
Yeah, me too. Well, I went back and looked. They had somebody put on every play that Trayon Webb ran. And I watched it today. It was online. Good player. Good player. They've got some talent back there. The younger guys especially. I wrote about it over the weekend. And Jaden Ball intrigues me. I see something in him that I saw right away. The size he has, the quickness he has, the sense of where he is with the ball. I don't know how good of a pass receiver he is.
He's not that big, though, is he, buddy?
He is. Yes, he is. 230.
There's no way he weighs 230.
Okay, well, look it up.
I will. I'm going to look it up right now. There is no way in the world he weighs 230.
All right. And he's
I'll bet you a
6'1",
hamburger.
6'1".
There's no way he's 6'1".
Okay, well,
I bet he's 5'10".
No, he's not 5'10".
215 is my guess.
Okay, we'll settle that later. But
No, I'm looking him up right now.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll put a show on. I'll go into the show.
Jordan Ball, he's 227.
Okay, what did I say?
You said what'd you say, 250? I have a hard time believing he weighs that much. I've seen.
Well, hey, listen, I'm just telling you what they say. I don't go out and weigh the guy. This is what they put out there.
Yeah, he doesn't look 227, which is good.
I'm telling you, he's a stud.
Well, they like the Katie Daniels running back a lot as well.
Like this kid too. So anyway, I guess maybe this kid's more of an inside runner. I mean, short yardage, but I like having that big back in there when you need him. Anyway, so we'll see where that goes. Did you see the numbers on Cam Ward in the first scrimmage?
I did not.
7 for 15 with 1 pick and 1 touchdown and a fumble. Not terribly impressive the first time out. But everybody says he's such a great player. I don't know, Shane. You're the quarterback expert.
I think he's a good player, but now look, I'm looking at Montrell's weight. I would bet a lot of money that Montrell Johnson in real life weighs more than Jaden Ball. But it says on the website 216. I think that's wrong.
I'll bet you. I bet you a dollar.
I would bet a lot if I put them on a scale next to one another that Montrell Johnson's heavier.
You just aren't going to give into that, are you?
No, I will not.
Yeah, well, all right. Every now and then I'm right. Just once every 10 years I'm right.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying my eyes tell me that Montrell is bigger than Jaden Ball.
Yeah. Well, the point is that Ball could be a good player. This might give him more time. Webb will be the first guy in, obviously. Katie Daniels has got the speed, I guess. Shane, you get to go watch these practices.
I've not watched one practice.
Well, you can go.
I was going to go today, but I felt like
they didn't have outdoor practice today, right?
They practice inside today.
Well, they didn't. They called it off something off today. I don't know.
No, they called it off to the media not to show up, but they practiced today.
All right. Okay. Point being that of all the places that you take a hit, is this a place that Florida could afford it more than most?
I guess, but I mean, like I said, it's not like I don't think Montrell's going to miss a beat. He's a guy that's played a lot of football. They trust him. The team trusts him. I have zero doubt that he played. I'd be shocked if he doesn't play against Miami.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's what I want to ask you. Because of his experience, the timing issue that you have when you first come back may not be the problem it would be for some players. Do you think being out of practice will hurt his timing?
No.
Okay.
It's just like in the NFL. He's a guy. He's a senior. He's been playing. He may be a junior. I don't even know what year he is, but he's played a lot of football. He knows the system. It may be good that he's not practicing.
Well, that's one of the things his friends wrote about too. That maybe
I mean, wear and tear and rested legs. It could be a good thing.
Yeah, man. What do you except other players, the timing of the quarterback and what have you situation.
Yeah.
So we continue to hear pretty good reports out of Gainesville. Billy seems to be somewhat unbeat. He was very good in his presser last week. He really stayed focused, addressed the issues, didn't dodge, didn't try to dodge, didn't blame the schedule, as we've talked about many times. And he said even, and I mentioned this to Urban today in the interview you're going to hear, is that he said it's good for your team to go through tough times, to have that crucible where they got to get through that tough time. And they've had 2 years of that. So they certainly have. So he thinks, according to what he said in his press conference, that could be proved to be a good thing for his team. Do you buy that?
Yeah, but a lot of those players aren't on this team anymore.
Well, the ones that were on the team and coming back were on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm saying it's a huge turnover from when I look at bad, tough times. I look at both years that Billy's been here, and majority of the players from year one are gone, and a bunch of them from last year are gone. I think it's a new team that he's excited about.
Yes, he's got an experienced team, a really experienced.
He's got an experienced and a deep team, and I think it's important that this coaching staff wanted all these players, and these players all wanted to play here.
Yeah,
I think that's important.
He talks about the fact that they really they're getting leadership of the players who want to work on this, who want to put extra time in, who was it said, fine us when we don't do it right? Somebody said, Coach, you should fine us when we don't show up on time or whatever. I think the will is there. I think that's but of course, as we talked about, you have to have the talent. You got to execute. So they're going to play Miami, and I don't know why Miami got to be so great a team based on what I've seen of them and heard of them. But we'll see. They're still favored. Be a nice win to start out with, and then if they get there, we'll see where they go from there. All right, this program is brought to you by our sponsors, Meldon Law Monday. Meldon Law. They won't back down. Remember, if you have a need for any advice on your lawsuits or your pending lawsuits or lawsuits that you file with other attorneys, you're not getting the opinions back that you want. You can get a second opinion in law, just like medicine. Call Meldon Law. They'll let you know if they can help you or not, and maybe they can't. Of course, as you know, their reputation is being the only official injury law firm at the University of Florida, and also, the reputation as being Gators. Meldon Law, Jeffrey now back off his soiree to out in England, and he's back and he's ready to go to work and hunker down for the season. Big fans. They do good things. So if you have any needs for law, or if you just want to be a guy that knows how to party, call Meldon Law and talk to Jeffrey and check it out. Meldon Law, they will not back down. Shane, his coaches poll is out today. Did you see it?
I have not. Are we ranked?
No, but 38th. I did see another graphic, which I don't have in front of me. CBS said, here are the teams that have a chance to win a national championship this year. They mentioned some teams, and Florida was one of them. And they were ranked ahead of Miami and somebody else. So, I mean, that's –
You win 8. You win 8 games. I think you make the playoffs.
That's the point. Exactly. All right, here it is right here. Georgia, of course, was first. Texas, not surprised, they're second. Fourth, actually. The second SEC team. These are all SEC. Alabama, 5. Ole Miss, 6. And skip a few down to Missouri, 11. That's the mystery team we just don't know about. LSU is 12. Haven't heard a lot about LSU. Tennessee, I don't know how I feel about Tennessee. Oklahoma, there's a team that nobody's talking about that might fool you. Texas A&M. Others having votes for Auburn is 32nd. They've apparently been tearing it up in recruiting. Won't help them this year, but they're just killing it. Kentucky, now all of a sudden, there's some talk about Kentucky being on the hot seat with some episodes that could cost them. They have to vacate some wins if they do. I don't know the latest on that. Florida's 38th. South Carolina, 39. Well, I don't get South Carolina yet. That's what we have. So that's the poll. Means nothing this time of year, but just gives you an idea. Florida's showing up a little bit, whatever. So we'll see. Also, Shane, remember Jack Caglione?
I do remember him.
He got assigned to High A. He's the Quad City River Bandits. So he said he can't wait to get in his car and drive out there. So he's pretty soon going to have a bat in his hand. That will be a good thing going. So, all right, Shane. So over the Olympics that you watch, what's the one or two things that jumped out at you that you really enjoyed?
Well, I think the track and field is always interesting to see who the fastest man in the world is.
Getting into that right now, yeah.
I like the relays. Swimming was okay. And then, I mean, I really enjoyed the golf. I thought the golf on Sunday, the those guys were incredible.
I didn't get a chance to watch it Sunday. He shot some incredible scores, apparently.
Oh, it was not. I mean, multiple guys played unbelievable, and they made so many putts, so many great shots. But it was cool to see the pro golfers in that environment because, you know, only 3 people got rewarded. Whereas in a normal golf tournament for them, everybody, if you make the cut or you're in it, you're gonna make some money, you know. But it was awesome. I thought the environment was great. But that's about the only stuff I've watched.
Well, the swimming was pretty good, I will say. It's just hard to realize that they only got one individual gold. The biggest thing was Dressel. Unfortunately, had a bad run there. Had 2 races that the defending champion in. But they did some interesting things, and Katie Ledecky was wonderful, and there's some great stories there. The thing I want to talk to you about is Noah Lyles. He's a Gainesville kid. Have you ever been around him?
No, I think he was born here and then he moved really early.
Yeah. He's got a little different way. Apparently very sick, had very bad asthma, you know, and overcame that. I think it's his grandmother. His grandmother, maybe some of you other guys know this. Maybe his grandmother helped raise him. But I think he's the story. Now, he's cocky, which goes with being a sprinter these days. But he's backed it up. And, boy, that 1 inch there really made everything difference for him. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, he's going to probably be the first American to win the 100 and the 200 since Carl Lewis. There's the 200 is his event. He'll win that one, I think, easily. The 100 was in doubt, and I still can't figure out how they decided who won that. I know they had to look at it for about 25 seconds.
Well, they have pictures and they have the evidence that shows them that line. Here's a comment here about it. Walter Hillman said he thought the American won. Yeah, I mean, I think you get into it about week 2. Here's a comment from Robert Turner. I mean, gold, silver, bronze in any sport, Olympics is absolutely great achievement. I agree with you, Robert. Michael Burton says, here's the name he likes to have for it. Call it Big Ten should be called the Baskin-Robbins League. There are 18 teams, Shane. 18 teams.
Well, we got 16.
I know. But at least ours are all contiguous states. Not, whatever, all over the place. So, yeah. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to duck out or be a part of this. It depends. This is a 20-minute interview with Urban Meyer. If you just want to listen on the side and go back and watch your TV, fine. We're happy to have you join and comment if you like. It's up to you.
I got to make some calls here, buddy, for work.
All right. So you go do it then. Have a good night.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, right?
Thank you.
I'll be there to bail your show out again tomorrow. Don't worry.
Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. It'll be me. All right, Shane. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Shane Matthews on this Meltdown Monday. We had a very good visit with Urban Meyer, and we got standing by in the Orange Blue Room our buddy France Beards. So let's go ahead and hear from Coach Meyer and Brendan. Must be football season. I saw this guy once. I haven't seen him in He's in Salt Lake City. I'm in Panama City, and Brendan's in Underwater in Ocala. Urban, good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. I know there's been a lot of rain. My daughter's dealing with some issues, some flooding in Sarasota right now. So,
yeah,
prayers to everybody to stay safe.
You know about all that kind of stuff. I know Florida called off their practice, obviously for obvious reasons. Well, Urban, in the short time we got, we love having you on. Let's jump right into it, all right? And I have a lot of questions for you. Brendan probably has one. First of all, can you get your mind wrapped around this football season? I went ahead and look up the teams in the Big Ten today because I forgot who all they were, 18 teams. I think it'd be a good quiz to see how many people could name the teams in the Big Ten, you know?
Yeah, I think when you start, it's amazing to me that the higher ups have all made these decisions over the last really 10, 15, 20 years. Can you imagine someone sitting in a room and saying it's a good idea for Texas not to play Texas A&M?
Oh my
Hey,
God.
let's take these 4 teams from the strongest conference in the country last year, the Pac-12, and let's break it up. And I'm feel very strongly about just the collegiate experience for not just football players, but the Pac-12 had the strongest. I don't know if the Olympic teams or whatever the non-revenue sports. There are so many great athletes and great teams and national champions now. That conference is gone. So I'm not saying I disagree with it because I'm not in all those meetings right now. The number one driver is money, which always concerns me when the first thing that comes up is money, money, money. I guess I'm old school and I still believe in life after sport, the collegiate experience, education. And some people look at me and say, well, come on, that's not what it's all about. I'll argue with you and say it's absolutely what it's all about. Now there are a small percentage of people that will make careers, that will never have to work the rest of their life. I would say a high percentage will have to work and have to rely on that education and network system that they made during college. So I know it's a long answer, but I feel very passionate about it.
It's a long season, a lot of teams. And real quick, I read this today. This sums it up. The Big Ten has 18 football teams stretching from Piscataway, New Jersey to Seattle. The Big 12 has 16 football teams from Orlando to Provo, Utah. The ACC has 17 football teams from Miami to Stanford. The Pac-12 has 2 schools. And by the way, the SEC, it has 16 teams in 11 contiguous states, Urban. They're all attached at some point, which is highly unusual these days.
Well, I saw the average flight is 2,300 miles for an Oregon athlete. Wow. And football, you'll be on a nice chartered plane, and it'll impact you because it certainly will. And I saw Washington. Washington has, I want to say, 4 games east of the Mississippi, and that's going to be a lot of pressure on those players. But once again, football gets all the headlines. There's a lot of other athletes that are not going to be on a chartered plane. They're going to be on Alaska Airlines, flying through Chicago in January. I don't know.
We're watching some of them on the Olympics right now. And Urban, just a quick question. I know Brendan's down to get in here with a question. I thought about you this morning. You've been doing this for 30, how many years?
I think 30. I was a college coach, I want to say, for 38 years, 37.
Okay, I was thinking 35, so I forgot about you were a GA too, right? So all that
Right.
stuff. So now, after all of this, where are we? Do we have a better game or not?
I would say the level, the quality of play has never been better. And I've talked to several colleagues about this. The amount of training, coaching, it's never been better. So when you push play, you're watching as good a college football as there's ever been. Now you take a lot of the other extraneous issues going on, it just makes it more complicated. But for the fan, for the viewer, there's a time, buddy, that athletes, you couldn't feed athletes. There's a time there, I went to Bowling Green, there's no training table. I first got to Ohio State, or I remember I was at Notre Dame, and our training table was awful. And, it was just hard for players to keep their body weights up. And so I would say the positive is it has never been better, the quality of product on the field.
I hope that's going to be the case. And I think about the nutrition. You brought it up. Your friend Steve Spurrier says when he was coaching in Florida, he was a nutritionist. And what he did, he walked around and told them, put some green on that plate. And now I'm hearing stories about they just lost 500 pounds body fat on the team and replace it with 500 pounds of muscle. I don't know what that means, but boy, that's impressive.
Yeah, sometimes I watch some of these interviews and coaches give far too much information, and I watch and I'm going, why are you talking about that? That what goes on inside the walls of your facility, that's between you and your team. So I would, there's sports psychologists, there's nutritionists, there's physical therapists. I first was hired at Ohio State. We were the first team to have our own sports psychologist, our own physical therapist, our own PT guy, our own nutrition just for football. So once again, the way student athletes are treated, it's never been better.
Yeah, Brendan, I think we vote for a psychologist for a lot of these athletes.
Absolutely, especially with the onset of some of them making more money than they've ever seen, and how to deal with all that. Coach, I was at SEC Media Days this year in Dallas, and you've done plenty of those. Not a whole lot said. It's just sort of a State of the Union. Interesting thing that I got to do was talk to the leading industry, I guess, leaders and coaches with AI and how they're implementing technology and stuff this moreover as the game develops this year, particularly with the headsets, being able to talk to players, iPads on the sideline to review plays. Can you talk about those two things, particularly the iPads and being able to communicate in helmet, and what kind of a difference do you think that will make this year?
Well, the evolution's dramatic. There was a time when I was a graduate assistant back in the 80s, and you had the 16 millimeter tape. You actually, that was part of your job as a graduate assistant, learn how to splice tape, put tape together. But the game was not complicated at all. There were basically 2 or 3 defenses, 2 or 3 offenses. That was back in the I formation days. And the evolution of the digital age really changed. I was at Notre Dame when that started, when he got rid of videotapes and all became digitized. And then now the information is, it can be overwhelming at times, and it's really complicated the game. This will complicate the game even more, and I've seen both ends of it. I've seen the obviously the signals where on the news that came out yesterday about the Wolverines with all the deleted texts, et cetera, et cetera. It's the right thing to do. But it continues to compound the complexity of the game, which I'm not saying is bad. It's great. But the information available to a coach and player now it's if you put that 10 years ago, you'd be like, my gosh, I can't imagine this. But it's good for the game.
And Urban, explain to us, laymen, about the cheating part of this. Sharon got rid of 50 emails, a la Hillary Clinton, whatever. Now he's being.
You said that, not me.
Oh, well, it's true. I mean, it's
Freddie Martin said that.
It's not a political statement. It's a fact. I mean, maybe it was legal. I'm just saying it was big, or it was a big thing what she did. But my point is that all of a sudden Sharon's being implicated. Am I saying his name right? Sharon at Michigan, and Harbaugh's out of there. Now he's holding the bag. Now they're coming after him, Urban. How much cheating can you do, and how do you steal signals?
Well, stealing signals is it's gamesmanship, and it's very legal. It's actually part of the game. It's a little bit like baseball, when I think it was the Houston Astros that had the issue they dealt with. But it's very clear. The rules are very clear that and I even got an argument with some of my colleagues at Fox that said that, well, everyone does this. And I was like, wait, everyone does what? That they send people to games and I'm like, no, I've never heard of that. During the course of a game, if you're lazy with your signals, you can pick up formations, you can pick up a blitz. That's part of the game. That's always been part of the game. But when I saw 58 times they went to games, they had a whole system set up where this guy would decipher all the signs and utilize it during the games. I've never heard of that, and that's against the rules. But I think it's too early to tell, but if you lie to the NCAA or you're deleting messages, to me that's I think what everybody's sitting back and I took a deep breath and said, wait a minute, what happened? So I think we still don't know exactly. I worry about the strength of the NCAA. The NCAA is, every time they make a decision, they've been litigated. Yeah. And when they get litigated, they lose. So my understanding, the NCAA has thrown up their hands. There basically isn't, there aren't very many rules anymore. You can basically transfer you when you want. You can even tamper with players, I've found out, because the NCAA is tired of getting their butt kicked in litigation. Yeah. So of course this will head to the courts, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to get back to the game for a second because we can get lost in this other stuff. and the passion we all have for the game, that we love the game so much, and we lose sight of that sometimes. I'm thinking about the days that when you were winning championships in Florida. I'm thinking about Florida over the past 100 years, how they didn't have any respectability really basically until 19, really till Spurrier came along. And then you, and the cornerstone of Florida football is built on what you and Spurrier have done there. And I'm thinking, when I was a youngster following Florida football, Bob Woodruff was the coach, and we were shooting for 5-5 in a bowl game. That was their aspirations, right? So I'm thinking, holy mackerel, we're back to that now. We're looking to get to a bowl game, the evolution of the game. Anyway, it just makes it look like you look in the rearview mirror, you see what you did at Florida, an incredible job of coaching the athletes and winning championships. And Steve, what he did, he transformed the game of football. What you two guys did was remarkable. And I think people are only beginning to appreciate it when they look in the rearview mirror. All of that's by saying, from a standpoint of what you did, I'm not sure that could be done again, you or Steve.
I think it can. I mean, there's a handful. I'd say there's 8 teams in the country that have the, location, the academic support, the budget, and the most important thing, the foothold, the footprint of great players within a striking distance of a university that you can recruit. And the Gators are certainly that. There are teams like, I'm actually in Salt Lake City, and Kyle Whittingham's one of my dear friends, and I think he's, if not the best, one of the top coaches in the game. Utah does not have that. Utah does not have the footprint of, all you got to do is recruit the state of Utah. Florida, you don't have to go much further. You go Georgia, Florida, and that's really the main reason I took the job in 2005, because I had young kids and I could sleep at home every night. Notre Dame was on the table too. And Notre Dame, you have to recruit. I mean, you recruit Seattle as hard as you recruit Dallas, as hard as you recruit Atlanta. Because there's
you were going to go to Notre Dame, right? You were gone to Notre Dame until you changed your mind, right?
Not really. Florida was on the table first, but Jeremy came out, but I'm Irish Catholic, and I was a Notre Dame fan my entire life. But I'm also a family person, and I know I want to win, and we could win it. Florida's great. So, to say Florida will never be back there, that I don't believe that at all, buddy. I think they'll get going. I'm hoping it's this year. It's a very tough. You look at that schedule, and it's a little bit like our 2006 schedule. We had the hardest schedule in the country in 2000 when we won it all. And it was every Sunday you walk in there and watch that tape and you're like, I mean, when does it stop? You had, when you start doing LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, and then your crossovers were Alabama, Auburn. I mean, right in a row.
LSU.
And you look at some of LSU and you see some of these schedules these other teams play. So Florida's got a tough road, but I'm pulling for them, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's been a long time, and Gator fans are getting a bit restless. And I wanted to get back to the Big 10 or Big 18, whatever you call it. One thing is, you guys got an incredible lineup on Big Noon. I'm assuming everything's going back like it was with Big Noon, and to show you guys are on the scene now. You'll be going to a lot of different schools. This is going to be a bonanza for Fox and having all these teams and your show, which has been done very well in the ratings.
Yeah, our show is nominated for an Emmy this year, and we added Mark Ingram to our staff and our team. We start off with Penn State at West Virginia, which will be a great game. And then we go to Texas, to Ann Arbor, to the Wolverines.
Wow, that's a great game. Michigan,
and then we
Texas.
have Alabama at Wisconsin. So our first 3 games will be epic. They'll be great. We'll have huge crowds. And, we just had our Big Noon seminar, Fox Sports seminar. And we could have the strongest in-season schedule that exists.
What has happened at Ohio State? Ryan Day is under a lot of heat right now. And part of it is Michigan went 50-0, but maybe they had a little help. And now everybody thinks, and you're on the record of saying the talent at Ohio State this year is off the charts. I mean, you praise, I don't know the exact words you used, but I think you said it's the best you've seen. So Ryan is your friend, you coach him, he's your assistant. he hasn't gotten it done. How much heat does he feel right now?
Well, it's all, when you say he hasn't got it done, I think someone showed me he's the winningest coach in college football history, and that's had over 5 games, I think, over 5 years. Maybe it's second or third behind like Newt Rockne or something like that. And who was it? Frank Leahy and Newt Rockne. And those guys were great coaches. That was a couple of years. Buddy, I think you were a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, I covered them.
But Ryan, it's all relative, and the reality is when you take that job, I lived it because I lived in the great state of Ohio. Mm-hmm. It's a game that is what it is. That will never change. And reality is that they have to win that game. So there is a lot of pressure. But I got news. Go ask Coach Napier. Go ask DeBoer at Alabama. There's pressure everywhere. And you sign up for it. You sign up one of those blue blood schools. It is what it is. And they, by the way, they're getting paid very well for it. So is what it is. Go win that game.
But you experienced that firsthand. I didn't mean to imply that Ryan Day wasn't a good coach. His public perception is, now, what have you done for me lately? You know how that goes. And so if you don't win a national championship, you're a failure, right? That's the way it goes these days. All right. So are there any teams besides Georgia and the obvious ones that you're watching that are not necessarily in the top 5 or 10, but teams that you think are on the rise? I know it's too early because you haven't seen a lot, but are there any names, any coaches, any teams that you've been hearing a lot about?
Yeah, Texas is a team that they got a really good coach. I really like Sarkisian. I watched. He was gracious to us last year. We went and watched him practice, and I tell people that, the 14 team at Ohio State and the 08 Gator team those are the best teams I've ever seen. And when you walked on the practice field in Gainesville in 2008, I mean, the pro scouts. I had a pro scout tell me, Coach, you got so many more first-round picks than we got. It was everywhere, and they just looked differently, especially the line of scrimmage. And that's what Texas looked like to me last year. So I think it's Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas are the teams that, are going to watch closely. I'm interested because I think Kalen DeBoer is I don't know him, the coach that was at Washington. He's won everywhere. I hear nothing but great things about him, and watch for him to make a move because they're recruiting very good right now. And obviously with Nick Saban there, it's not a shortage of players. But I think you asked the question in a long answer. Texas is the one to keep an eye on.
Coach, we do a all SEC show in the mornings now. And this morning we were discussing a lot about Lane Kiffin, what Ole Miss has got going on there. The subject was bantied about a bit. And I asked the question to the group. I said, well, is Lane Kiffin, this is a tough spot to be in, right? I think he's always sort of been playing from underdog and, don't expect him to win where he is. But now he's got everything he seemingly needs. Is he ready for this kind of pressure? Because they're expecting him to win at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the book written about Lane Kiffin. We've actually become friends over the years. It didn't start off well back in 08 when he went to Tennessee, but he's done everything that you're supposed to do at a school like Ole Miss. First of all, he sells himself. He sells the school. It is a great school. It's a great environment. And then he's done the transfer portal and used that to his advantage. I think it's really interesting. He says he's not in agreement with it, but he's used it to his advantage. So good for him. So I think certainly Ole Miss has become a have. It was kind of a medium to have not for many, many years. Although, Houston, there's been some really good teams come out of Ole Miss. But I think he's raised the level, like you said, for a long time. When people aren't pointing the arrows at you, it's kind of fun to win. I did that at Utah. No one knew of Utah. It was kind of fun to ride that hill. Now he's on top of the hill, and people are going to shoot for him.
Very tender moment there at SEC Media Days when he talked about his dad, Monty, passing, and a lot of people were touched by that. Final one for me, or I'm going to let you get back to your business in Salt Lake. And I just wanted to say that Billy Napier made a comment this week in his press conference about what he's been through for the past 2 years. And he said it's made him a better program, a better team. That the so-called crucible we all talk about, that if you survive it, it makes your team better. he feels his team is better and more confident. And he says he did kind of say he's glad he had it. I thought immediately about you and about Vernell Brown, about what happened with Vernell and how you went through your crucible there early on the first year. Talk a little bit about how that sort of transformed your team.
Well, it is reality that scars and calluses that come from hard work and the tough things that happen certainly teach you how to fight through adversity and teach you and your team to stick together because there's only two solutions when things are going south, and that's stick together or fold. There's not many options. There's two, and it's going to be on display. Coach Napier, I listen to a lot what he says because it's part of my job, but I'm also intrigued because it's the Gators, and I can't. I'll be honest with you. Living in the Gainesville was really hard. It's a small town, and everybody's on you. Everyone is right. Maybe because Shelly loved it. It was hard on me. Shelly's the outgoing person. I'm the ingoing. I'm introverted. She's extroverted. And hey, let's go here. And I'm like, no, I'm not going there. I want to stay home. I don't want people. Because you feel there's the one thing that happens when you live in a city like Gainesville. You kind of start to feel like you're letting people down. You're letting Coach Spurrier started something amazing, and that's the standard. By the way, that will never change. And you just feel like you're letting former players, the university, and the town down, and that's really, really hard. And that's why I made the comment last year about, Billy Napier is a person. He's got a family, but he's got his job to do. So it is what it is. So I agree with him. It does make you more resilient. It toughens you up. But it's going to be on display here in about a month.
I was in Columbus. You had a little heat on you there, too.
Oh, sure. That's the way it is, though. And that's for the players and coaches.
Yeah. Urban, thanks so much. Anything from you, Brendan, final? Coach, thank you so much. It's good to talk to you. Hope we can catch up to you again here before the season starts again and teach us a little more about football. Great to talk to you again.
Always great being with you guys. Take care.
All right. Thanks very much to Urban for that interview. Appreciate it very much. Let's go. Well, I'll tell you about our sponsors. Titan MRI is a place you need to know about if you need at all an MRI. It's a great place to go, and they look after you as the customer, your customer experience. Guys like Franz Beer are lucky; they'll live close to it, and they're known for accommodating you to fit your needs. If you need to have an appointment that's at night or weekends, they can do that for you. Or if you have an issue with insurance, they'll take your cash or your card with no problem there. And they also want you to know when you get inside that little box and you go through there, you're oversized like Franz and I, that it gets a little tight. They're aware of the fact it can be claustrophobic. They want to accommodate you there. If you need a MRI, I strongly encourage you. Go to TitanMRI.com and check it out. And with that, I'll say welcome back to Franz Beard. He's been up traveling through the mud and the water, and now it's got a little medical thing to take care of. Franz, good to see you. I didn't think I'd see you tonight.
Well, I traveled through the hinterlands to get down here, and I got to tell you what, traveling through the Ocala National Forest and looking at a lot of trees uprooted because of because of lightning strikes or whatever like that, but the ground is just so saturated. We had 5 inches of rain last night in Gainesville, so that should tell you something right there. So I feel for folks who are out there who have flooding problems, who have electricity problems, and wish you safe and a quick return to normalcy in your life. Because having been through a couple of hurricanes through the years, I'd like to be out the basics. As some people are, or to go through the flooding. The big hurricane we had in 2017, we had the flood waters come off the street all the way through the yard up to about that far away from the front steps of the house. So I've been there and done that, and I wish everybody the best.
Yeah, you me too, friends, and thank you for getting. I'm glad you got back safely. You can share with us about what you want to tomorrow morning. You got a little procedure you don't want to talk about, it's fine, but we wish our thoughts will be with you. I know you'll be out.
No, I just have a little surgery. Just have a little bit of surgery that's not threatening but necessary, and I'm going to have that done tomorrow. So anyway, and hopefully in a few days I'll be pretty much back to normal again. Hope so anyway.
Had a good column today. You had a good one about the injury. You're saying it could be a mixed blessing on that injury.
Well, it can be. The extra reps, there's no substitute for experience. When you don't have experience, what do you have to have? You have to have the extra reps in practice. Montrell knows the offense. They're not going to teach Montrell anything about this offense that he doesn't already after 3 years in it. But he was a backup last year, so he played some, knows the offense, but didn't get the first team reps. He was the third team back last year. Jacoby Jackson was here, got fourth and fifth team reps. So this is a chance for him. And of course, the freshmen who are here in the spring. So for each of these guys, it's a chance to get more reps and get better. And here's the thing. All these guys can run the football. They wouldn't be here if they couldn't run the football. But as you know, buddy, running is instinctive. The great runners are all instinctive. We used to talk at length about how Smith and guys like that, their feet just go where their eyes take them, and that's all instincts. You either have it or you don't. The great ones have it. And so these guys have been running the football since the day they picked up a helmet and put on pads, etc. What they don't have the reps at is picking up linebackers, picking up an edge rusher, learning when do you stick a head in their chest and put them on the ground? When is just chipping necessary and then getting out to become an extra receiver in case the quarterback needs it? When do you chip a guy or fake a chip and then get out on a wheel route, etc., like that? All these things, you have to have the reps to do it. And that's one thing that this is going to do, is it's going to give them that opportunity in practice. So you could come out, Montrell, let's just say he's a fast healer. I mentioned the fact that Djokovic, 5 weeks after having meniscus tear surgery, he was in the Wimbledon final. And as you know, Wimbledon lasts 2 weeks. Okay. So he was playing after 3 weeks of the surgery. He was to that hitting. So basically 2.5 weeks after surgery, he's out there hitting. 2.5 weeks later, he's in the Wimbledon final. And any of you people who have watched Wimbledon, the absolute amount of stress that puts on your knees for these guys running back and forth, chasing that little yellow ball, it's off the charts. And here's
nobody's tackling them while they're hitting tennis ball.
Well, that's true. Nobody does, but just the same, the stress, the stop, the starts, etc., like that. That's a lot of stress. Then you get a guy like Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson had a torn meniscus and he missed 60-something ball games. The rumor around the NBA is that if he gets a hangnail, he'll miss a week. Roethlisberger had the surgery. 9 days later, he's off the crutches. He's in camp taking reps and says, hey, if they need me to play Sunday, because the Steelers had an exhibition game coming up, he said, I'm good. I'm ready to go.
No.
everybody heals at a different rate. We don't know how quickly Montrell's going to heal. I think the hope is that he'll be ready to go by Miami. But whether he is or not, these guys are getting those extra reps.
Yeah.
You got a 12-game SEC schedule that's the toughest in the country. The wear and tear is going to get to you. You're going to have guys that are ready to play. So this, as I said, this could be a blessing in disguise because you got guys who are going to have that opportunity, getting these extra practice reps. They're going to be more comfortable when they're called on.
Yeah, get back to the point we were talking earlier. I saw today somebody posted on Twitter every carry Trayon Webb made this past year. Not bad, but some pretty good. He's a good serviceable back. I don't think he can carry a team, but he catches the ball well. He cuts well. He has a little power, quick to the hole. The guy I really like, and I'm just based on a few carries I saw in the spring game. This guy, I can't get him out of my mind, is Jaden Ball. I just had a conversation with Shane Matthews. He couldn't believe his size. I said, well, Jaden Ball's about 230 and 60. Oh, he's not that big. I said, Shane, I'm just going to voice. Oh, I'll look it up. There's no way he's that big. I said, well, okay. Well, he's 227. That's what he was. He's about almost 6'1". He is quick. He's strong. He hits the hole with authority. And I don't know how good he can catch the football, but this kid, in my mind, has got a world of potential. I don't know he'll break through, but this could be one of those times, one of those games when somebody does. And like you said, you need to have opportunities for these people to show themselves. So sometimes those situations create opportunity, friends.
Wally Pipp, what can you say?
That's right.
For those who don't know who Wally Pipp was, go look up the story of Lou Gehrig.
Yeah, really.
Here's what I'll tell you about Trayon Webb, however. Trayon Webb is a guy that can carry a team. He is very, very capable of it. He is 5'11". He's 200.
A featured back.
Oh yeah, he can be. Oh yeah, I saw him in high school, and I know what he's capable of doing. And he's a back that I mean, hey, he turned down Alabama and Georgia to come to Florida. So I'll
take your word for it. In my mind, just what I see, he's a good player. Could be better, but he couldn't carry a team, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, that's why that's why we have differing opinions, buddy. That's
it's just 57 different flavors. I know,
but the thing I like is the fact that Florida's got 5 running backs. Florida's got 5 really good running backs. The guy nobody knows about is Jacoby Jackson, and I saw
about him. He's a transfer. He got speed, right?
Yeah, I saw him some junior college film on him, and holy cow, he is really, really talented, very underrated, quick into the hole. And here's what he does: he hits that hole quick, and then it's like boom, 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 like this. He's very, very decisive about making that next move. He's not Chris Rainey or Jeff Demps quick into the hole, but he's really, really good. Okay, at getting that first level and then seeing what he's got to see and then making that quick move to get there. Is he a guy that's going to give you 6 yards, 7 yards? Yeah, I don't know if he can do what he's going to do beyond that, because in junior college he could, but this is another level altogether. But I think he's a guy that can get you 5, 6, 7 yards, and which I don't think is bad at all. Jaden Ball's a guy I think and Trayon Webb are guys I think can go. The guy that nobody's talking about is this kid out of West Point, Mississippi, KD Daniels. And buddy,
Shane talked about him today, a little bit.
This guy was considered the top breakaway back in the country last year. I mean, this is a guy that just boom, 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 and I mean he's three quick steps, and then all of a sudden he's got that extra gear. He's got that Chris Rainey gear, is what I'm saying. That Chris could go from a jump cut and all of a sudden 2 steps and he's full speed. course, Chris was never 195 pounds either, which Katie Daniels is. Chris played, people don't realize that Chris Rainey played football at Florida at about 159 pounds.
Yeah.
So the fact that he gained 2,100 yards in his career, pretty darn remarkable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Solid guy. But, I think Florida's offense is going to be good, even if Montrell's not back early. I think he'll be back by the Miami game. I just have a feeling that he will be back by then. But I think Florida's offense is not going to be the issue at all.
Yeah, I agree. Defense.
We're going to have to see what can happen out of the defense. Here's one of the things that I can tell you, having seen him, not on the football field, but away from the football field. And that is Asa Turner. Asa Turner looks like a daggum linebacker, and he plays safety and can cover people and can hit people. And as I was told by Savannah Bailey back in a conversation I had with her one evening when we bumped into each other at a local store, this guy is really, really cerebral, and he is that smart guy on the back end that's been missing because we didn't have the experience back there.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that I think was missing the last 2 years, that is an underrated aspect of what Florida's got moving forward this year, is you got the smart guys back there who know what to do, know where to put people. We look at Florida's 2006 national championship team, and then the 2008 national championship team. The eraser in 2006, Reggie Nelson, knew where everybody was supposed to be. Football smart, like you like
a playmaker. Could make a pick also.
Yeah, I mean, I always go back to remember that first play in 2006 at Tennessee, and Tennessee thinks they got the wide open touchdown, and here comes out of nowhere to pass off. But then in 2008, Ahmad and Major Wright back there, two seriously football smart guys that knew where everybody's supposed to be.
We love to see a read and react defense. That's why we're running out of time here, but I want to get one question before I let you go. And I can't keep you up too late. You got something you got to go do tomorrow.
Yeah.
You've been out there a lot. You've been to lots of Billy's pressers. You heard him talk a lot. And then you tend to be optimistic, which is good. A lot of people like that. And I don't want to read too much into what I'm hearing, but I thought the press conference, I listened to it 4 times, he gave was thoughtful, tangible. He spoke to some issues. He seemed to know what the weaknesses were. He didn't run from anything. And it gave me a confidence that maybe this guy is going to be all right here. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's going to go 10-2, but he could do a 7, maybe an 8-win season. I don't know. I'm just feeling a little bit more confident, but I tend to go that way. In about a minute and a half, give me your latest thoughts. I know when you're driving, you like to think a lot. You've heard Billy talk a lot. Is there a change in his attitude? Is there more confidence? And do you think it permeates the team?
Oh, more confident. He's more confident. I think that he keeps that key word, buddy. We've got experience now that we haven't had. All the thousands of snaps they have of experience, the number of starts they have. You have to be more confident there, because he took over a program that was short on experience, short on strength and physical conditioning, short on a lot of things. And now he's got an SEC roster. And you can see that physically when you see these guys. They are of guys. This guy knows what he's doing. I know a lot of people are out there and they think, oh, he doesn't know anything. You don't realize the deep hole that was dug before he got here. And you don't go into the SEC and just get past it. The fact that he's had the Gators on the verge of 19-6 the last 2 years tells you how good a coach he is, in spite of the fact that he had to replace half his coaching staff, in spite of the fact that he's had to play with the youngest team in America. You don't get that good being good. Now, we're going to find out how good based on, can he take you past that level? Can he take you past that level of close but no cigar to, okay, we got the cigar? You know, remember Coach Graves used to light up a cigar when the Gators won football games. And I remember my first college ball game I ever covered, Johnny Vaught. They handed him a lit cigar after they beat Memphis. And I thought every coach was supposed to do that. Of course, nobody smokes the cigars anymore, but just one more of those traditions, buddy, that we old timers remember quite well. And you miss it. I miss it. You know, I know we're not supposed to smoke cigars and stuff, but I miss those victory cigars. I miss those times when coaches came out and they had that cigar in their mouth. They had a grin on their face and they let us know, hey guys, you know, hey buddy, how you doing and stuff. I miss those days.
Yeah, a little cigar and a glass of brandy is not bad. Friends, I'm glad you're back. Be all the best to you tomorrow. We'll talk to you down the line. Do well, and we'll talk. Thanks for your getting back and hustling and doing the great work you did while you were gone.
Appreciate it, buddy. You take care.
The great Fran Spirit, folks, bringing it like he always does. Appreciate it. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up the show tonight, and with our good friends, we'd like to talk about Save the Last because they're special. Renstar Medical Research. It's a term you should know about because they would like your participation in their projects to help us all have better health. And how they do that, they have these clinical trials here in Ocala where you can apply and qualify. Some cases you get compensation for time and travel, and take part in these studies on a medication or a device they try out. And they get the data and they send it off to these other companies, biomedical companies, and they're able to find out more about our DNA here in this area. And they want you to understand the importance of these clinical trials. They've done almost 100, they've done 800 of us has been there. So if you can take part in that would be great. You should know about these folks. They're good people, friends of mine, been known a long time. All the best to Joe Sorrentino and Mary Brantley and their team down there. So thanks for their participation in this program and sponsoring us. Have a great night, folks. Thanks to our guest tonight. As always, great to hear from Urban. I'm glad some of you enjoyed it. Of course, Shane on Monday nights, and then we'll be on his show tomorrow morning. And, of course, the Iron Duke bringing it to us tonight. So have a good one, folks, and we'll be back here tomorrow night with our usual team. We'll see who else is going to join. I hope everybody's going to be okay, given where we are with our weather. Hope you stay dry tonight and warm, and I look forward to see you back here again tomorrow night. So thank you on behalf of our people here at Gatorbait. Go sign up for them. They're each friends. Check us out here on the podcast. Like and subscribe. Have a great night.